In February of 1978, 5 men walked away from a perfectly safe environment and vanished into freezing darkness. They left behind a series of events that defy simple explanation. Gary, Jack, Bill, Ted, and Jack lived in Yuba City, California. Their lives were defined by rigid schedules and predictable routines. On the night of February 24th, they attended a college basketball game. To everyone who knew them, this was a perfectly normal, planned evening. Because these men relied so heavily on their habits to navigate the world, the choices they were about to make cannot be easily dismissed as a sudden desire for adventure. Sometime after the game, they got into their car to drive home, but instead of heading south toward Yuba City, they turned north. They bypassed the familiar highway and drove deep into the mountains, navigating toward a remote forest road far from their intended path. There were no skid marks indicating panic, no signs of a struggle, and no evidence that the driver was confused. The car kept moving deeper into the woods, following a path that led further away from the city with every passing mile. Days later, their car was found sitting on a narrow mountain pass, completely undamaged. Inside, investigators found maps, heavy clothing, and enough food to keep the group alive, and the gas tank was nearly full. The only item missing from the vehicle was the set of keys. Just outside the doors, 5 distinct sets of footprints led away from the car, pointing straight uphill into the deep snow. The men were walking into the freezing wilderness in the middle of the night, wearing only light jackets. To leave a functioning heated vehicle for the open ice represents a total collapse of basic survival logic. Months passed before search teams discovered a remote Forest Service trailer hidden miles away in the woods. Inside, they found Ted Weyer. He had managed to survive in the trailer for weeks before he eventually succumbed to the elements. During that time, he had lost over 80 pounds, his body slowly wasting away in the mountain cold. The trailer was stocked with enough military rations to feed him for months, yet the containers remained sealed and untouched. For reasons no one can confirm, the biological urge to eat was seemingly overridden by whatever kept him huddled inside that room. In the following days, search teams discovered the remains of 3 more men in the nearby snowdrifts. Recovery operations were slow and grueling as teams navigated the same steep, frozen terrain the men had climbed on their final night. But the 5th man, Gary Mathias, was never located. No trace of him has ever been found. A witness later reported being stranded in his own car on that same road the night the men disappeared. He claimed to see a group of figures walking past him, followed by a second vehicle with its headlights on and its engine idling in the dark. This sighting introduces the possibility that the men were being watched, or even followed, as they moved toward the cabin. Decades later, the case remains a collection of decisions that refuse to align with common sense. Every piece of evidence, the full gas tank, the untouched food, the missing keys, points to a night where the group's internal logic led them toward an impossible end. Whether they were running from something or following someone, the 5 men left behind a path that no one has been able to follow.